Hello from Los Angeles. I am Murphy Daly, AV veteran, project manager, and author. You can find me on the web at Written by Murphy, and you are coming along with us for the AV life.
James here, writer for the Higher Ed Digital Magazine, the IT and AV column, HEPMA board member, co-host of Ask the Programmer, crew member on AV Life. You Google me, you'll find me. And you are watching and listening to AV Life.
And I'm your host, Tim Van Wert, from Higher Ed AV Media and from Rutgers University and from HETMA and who else knows, and all the parental roles that I have now seemed to have filled over the last couple weeks. And you are watching and listening to the AV Life. All right, well, welcome back, folks. We are here. I got a couple crew members and I have an awesome guest with us tonight. And if you know who this guest is, you already have a guess as to which segment we are doing tonight on the AV Life, because he is probably one of the more solid guests that we've had for these episodes. Mr. Harry Mead, how are you doing tonight, Harry?
Oh, tired. Lots and lots of work. It has my job as general AV plate spinner, keeping things moving on a government campus. Making old equipment sing like it's only middle-aged.
Do you get to say that? Do you get to say that? I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
No, because I generally hate when people say that to me, so
Only if they deserve it. Okay.
Harry would probably rather the I'm from the government and I can tell you what I do, but then I'd have to kill you is probably the line he'd rather have. But
Okay. Yeah.
See, he didn't say that. That's why I said it.
See,
So that way
I just don't get specific.
Okay. Undercover.
So we know if Tim and Murphy disappeared recently, we know what happened.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So yeah, so welcome, Harry. Yes, and meaning that Harry's here, we have our formerly known as the firing range. Pew pew.
Pew pew.
We have decided to rename the segment. And we have gone now to kind of embodying the logo that is the AV Life, which you see on our podcast from a daily basis. The lightning bolt that even from the very beginning with Corey, with his design, that lightning bolt was always in the logo for the AV Life. So we are calling this the AV Life Lightning Rounds. Something like that.
Stay tuned for a
sound effect. Yeah, sound effect to be inserted later. Pew pew. Because I feel like we just need to keep that in there. So
yeah.
And eventually when Kim
pew pew.
Exactly.
Something.
And when Kim comes back, and it has nothing, the pew pew has nothing to do with church, just so you all know. That was a bad joke. Yeah. Anyway.
I thought it was Pepe.
Pepe the pew pew. Mm-hmm. Well, sometimes sometimes these articles do stink. So no, I'm not winning the jokes tonight. Yeah, I know James is sitting there just shaking his head. Yep. Mm-hmm. See, and you would see this if you were at YouTube watching our videos over there. So if you haven't done so yet, go over there, subscribe and like all of our videos while you're there. And they're always there for your pleasure, or pain, depending on how you look at it. So, so before we get into the articles, also I want to wish a belated happy birthday to our founder, Corey Moss. It was his birthday last week and we failed to say that to him. So happy birthday, Corey. He did like my tweet, so I know he's out there checking the Twitterverse. So
happy birthday,
glad
Corey.
Yes. So we are glad to see that at least you're tweeting out there with us and you're keeping an eye on us through the Twitterverse, as it were.
The interweb.
Yes. So, okay. So we've got 2 articles tonight, and because we're now calling them the lightning rounds, we're not really going to split up into teams. We're going to sorry, see, I can't read the chat and while
Don't do
we're
it.
doing
It's
it.
a trap.
No, it's a trap. So yes, I'm not going to repeat what was put in there, but this is what happens is that I read something, and then my ADHD kicks in, and it's like, wait a minute, no, I shouldn't have looked at that.
It's sleep deprived Harry's version of derail the show.
Oh geez, no, don't. Joe's not here. I don't need the show getting derailed. Like this is so we have 2 articles. We're all gonna get our time to talk about the article. We'll figure out like a side on each of these, and then we'll give our 2 cents on it, and we're gonna go quick. That's hence the lightning rounds. And we're gonna get through these 2. We'll try to stick to our 45-minute time limit. And so we'll get this lightning round started. Round 1 comes to us from a Colorado State Fair competition. Names an unlikely winner. AI made artwork. And of course, as we probably are aware, when something like this happens, there's lots of criticism that comes along with that. And it snagged first place in a competition. Jason Allen. Sorry, I was watching too much football this weekend, and I had Josh Allen on my brain. President of gaming company Incarnate Games, and his AI created submission received the top prize in the event's digital art category. The piece, titled Theater d'Opera Spéciale, inspired heated debate online over the use of such techniques. And now it goes on to people saying like how they think it's gross, and that, it should be just real artistic merit, shall we say. And then, somebody else called it, this is like letting a robot participate in the Olympics. And the art created by AI is not the same as that created by man. So there's a lot of those, and there's
Don't
people
take all
that like
the
to see
arguments before we can argue.
Okay, sorry. So the article has a lot more. So when we post this, you could read about all the other sides of this. So I'm going to go ladies first, and I'm going to let Murphy lead us off.
When it
So
comes
you
to
could
state-
take either yay, like this is deserving that this AI should get the award, or no, they shouldn't get the award.
Okay, so State Fair has a lot of things. I have a big fondness for state fairs, participated in them throughout my teen years. I was a 4-H person. I raised a pig and a cow and rabbits and all these things, right? So the state fair was really important to me. State fair art is pretty grassroots, right? So definitely people could take a kit that sort of came out of a box and make a work of art from a kit. So that is similar, I think, like if someone got a hook rug that they got from like a kit, sort of a paint by number thing. So this is not that different from that in a way. So I think that it's good to bring it up and have the conversation. These are, from the examples, very refined. These are pretty darn cool pieces of art, but it should be declared what's happening. Like someone could present a hook rug that they got from a kit, and they'd have to say they got it from a kit. But and I think this is part of what the rules will put forth, like, what are you doing? You kind of have to say what the materials are, and there should be some rules about it. Fine, explore it, figure it out, because art necessarily uses technology. It always has. So I think this is a conversation that we should be having, and everybody should argue about it. And that's kind of what art should do, make you think and make you have conversations and want to look at it longer. So it's kind of doing what it's supposed to do, but it does raise a lot of like, what the heck? And we should all.
So do you want the winner to keep its award? You gotta pick a side here, Murphy.
I don't have to pick a side.
You can't be Gina. No, Gina. You have to pick a side.
I think they should keep the award and they should be subject to being sued.
Okay. That's it. All right.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen, who wants to go next? I'll gotta give them.
I can go.
Harry, go
Yeah.
ahead.
I've got a couple of different possibilities with this. To cut to the end chase, yes, he should keep the award because there wasn't a rule against it yet. So it is what it is. It's art. He put it into the competition. Ta-da! He wins the art. Now, what I'm wondering is I am not familiar enough with the AI programs. From what I understand, it doesn't take a ton, at least to generate some of the smaller stuff. Now, something along these lines, this may have taken more description given to the AI to do something with. I don't know. I just don't know enough about it, about what you have to feed into the AI to get this out of it. I've seen some things where they just put a little phrase in and then it just pops a piece of art out. So if that was the case with this, then okay, that really wasn't a heck of a lot of artistic effort put into it, other than going, yep, that one looks good. From what I understand, he had to go through a bunch of them to find one that actually looked good enough to put in. So, I mean, there was a little bit of prejudging on his side in order to get it, but I think it should probably be its own category. And I imagine it probably will be after this year. It'll be its own category and they can go ahead and judge everybody on an equal playing field there. Because in some ways, yes, it does detract from somebody. If somebody spent tens to hundreds of man hours on a particular art piece, even digital still takes a lot of time to do. Versus basically putting in a phrase and going through the pictures until you get one that looks good. I don't think that's exactly a level playing field at that point. So I think to level the playing field back out, you have an AI art category on its own, and then you keep the actually hand created ish. Digital is hand created, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Into its own category. But like I said, wasn't any rules against it, so there's been plenty of times when I've bent the rules to something and then it's like, okay, yeah, next year we're not going to allow that, but good on you for getting through it this year.
Yeah. James, you want to go next, or
Your
Sure,
programmer.
I'll go next. So first off, I think Harry and Murphy both are very correct. I think the winner should keep the award. As Murphy said, art, what is art? It's supposed to make us talk. What is this doing? Making us talk. Also, like Harry said, there's no rule against it. So therefore it should fit. But the way I look at it is this is still art, but it's a new form of art. You think about it this way, is art is a different medium. You have people who are watercolors, people who are prosthetic, digital. Now you're gonna have AI folks. And also, I hate to say this, and this is the programmer in me, AI is just a fancy word right now for programming. Someone wrote that code to do it, to make that art. So there was someone who probably spent millions of man hours writing code to make that art. So to me, it just says if someone use a paintbrush or use junk from a junkyard or use clay, it's just a different medium.
I was saying that's you started taking the words out of my mouth there, James. I was like, programming can be considered an art form because there is a there's a method, there's a madness that comes along with it, depending on what type of code you're writing with and how you deal with that as an emotion. And yeah, I mean, this is from this standpoint for this year's fair. I agree. There's no rule that says that this AI artwork could not exist in this platform. But at the same time, I feel like there's more emotion. There's more, as one who does theater, and I know what emotion goes into that sort of performance. An art piece is just the medium for where the artist is getting it out to their intended audience, or it's everything has a different meaning for everybody when you look at art. But in this case, if you're relying on an AI engine to make those decisions that are going to create this piece of art, is that emotion still there? And because then that also then begs to say, does the AI have emotion? In which case we might be in big trouble, and we should probably be careful about that AI engine, and we should shut it down immediately before it takes
We've all
over.
seen that movie.
Exactly. We've all seen that movie. And if Arnold Schwarzenegger comes back as a cyborg and, tries to take it down, then we know we screwed up somewhere along the line.
If
But-
we ever notice anything from sci-fi movies, AI has no emotion, because emotion is what we use to make our decision on right or wrong. AI is a computer. It's either this or that. There is no reading between the lines. There is no emotion assigned to it. So if it taught us anything, AI has no emotion. So you're about there, Tim, that they don't have that emotion. But like I said, still a programmer.
Right.
You want Skynet? That's how we get Skynet.
But yes, I mean, next year, and I even say in the article, it's like, we're evolving every year in this competition. So yes, I could definitely see next year being a AI developed artwork category, or something that, does not involve direct work from an artist. So, I mean,
Random
I looked,
generated AI artwork.
yeah. And I look, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm looking at this piece. And it's a pretty piece. Like it's a very nicely done piece of artwork. It has like a little bit of a Renaissance feel to it, a little bit of sci-fi feel too, because it looks like a giant portal in the middle of it there. But yeah, I mean, Murphy, I mean, you were talking about like, the state fairs and things like that, and with having pigs and things like that you raised and got judged and things like that. What if a robot AI started raising pigs? Like, would you want those pigs to be?
I don't think the pigs would have it. They're very emotionally sensitive.
So yeah,
they would get out. They're very clever.
I don't think a robot gets an emotional support pig. So, that doesn't really.
Robot could learn a lot from a pig.
Possibly.
It's true.
Yes. There you go. Have the AI spend some time with the pig and see what happens. And,
and the pig would train the robot to give it lots of food.
There you go. It would learn real quick. So
get the food. No.
So yeah, so there you go. For the Colorado State Fair, you're going to need a new category next year. I think we all are in agreement with that for the most part. Very cool.
Yeah.
We're kind of starting a little mild here with these articles. I think I got to step it up, and I'm trying to follow in the footsteps of Kim Frank and Harry's leaning in.
There's another one coming.
Yes, there is. So. So maybe we're just warming up here. We'll see how how this next one
we're
goes.
warming up to get closer to the lightning round speed of the lightning round we're trying to have now.
Yes.
We just like talking to each other. We're all like, well, on the other hand.
Yeah. Well, and for our listeners and for everyone out there, I do have a sign up genius form that you could fill out. And I'd like to have 8 guests on top of our crew. And that would be a true lightning round because you'd have
Be
like
a
30
party.
seconds you'd have like 30 seconds to make your case.
Mhm.
So that would be entertaining. So I'd love to fill those slots. Reach out to us, DM us, let us know that you want to join in, and we'll get you on the show. Going into our next article, researchers discover a skeleton at a Polish cemetery that's straight out of a horror film. And I bring this up now because apparently Halloween has decided to start in late August now because Dunkin' Donuts thought it was smart to release pumpkin in August. So anyway, we're just going to ride.
Halloween's the new Christmas.
It's been a tough year. We get what comfort we can.
I was okay with that like last year or the year before, but now we're in 2022. We get back on schedule here.
I was going to say, but if your basic white girls aren't out there with pumpkin spice, all the things, I mean, is it really fall?
Well, the only thing is that I will say it's Han Solo season now because they got the
Absolutely.
high boots with the vests and the white shirts, so
Yes.
At least there's that,
Yes.
from a sci-fi fan point, I get Han Solo season. So, yes. And for those who've seen that meme,
vest. Where do you
Huh?
have the vest? Do you have a vest?
Do I have it? I do own
Do
a
you have
vest.
Han Solo vest.
I do not have a Han Solo.
I think you're going to need
vest.
to talk to your family members about Christmas and supplying the necessaries.
Well, I do own a like full legit Jedi robe, so there is
Well, that's
that.
a lot for everyday wear, but that vest could come
Yeah.
out. I think it could join
It's a
us
thought.
for the
It's a
AVI.
thought.
Think about it.
I'll have. Oh well, before we get too into this, we did receive our part of our Halloween costumes here at the Van Wert household today. Not today, yesterday. And it is a Disney theme, but I'm not going to say what it is. So, and I know Harry will appreciate it. So,
Okay.
yes. I'm just going to put the Magic Kingdom. We're going to put that out there just to give you a little bit of an area there.
You're dressing as a castle. She's dressing as a big ball. The other one's dressing as a tree.
How did you figure that out? Damn it. Anyway. All right. So, this cemetery is something out of a horror film in Poland. They have pure astonishment. These researchers have recently discovered a centuries-old female vampire held to the ground by a sickle and buried in a Polish village cemetery. The remains have also been found with a padlock on their toe. It's attributed to superstitions about how to keep the dead from rising from their grave. Do we think they have found a vampire in Poland? I'm leaving it open to anyone to kick this one off. So
I'll jump in on this one.
all right. There was a lot of hesitation across everybody on this one. So it was like, who's going to jump in the pool first?
I'll jump in the pool first. First off, I'll admit, full disclosure, work was busy, so I did not read this article. But going off this,
But that doesn't stop a brave man like James. Charge ahead.
No. Why are they defining it as a vampire? Because the teeth? We know probably a lot of people, even nowadays, do not have the best of hygiene. And there are probably people who have, I would say, fang-like teeth.
Mhm.
Just because people have bad hygiene. We also know people were very quick to judge, hence going back to the Halloween season, of the Salem witch trials. And people were burned at the stake for being witches. But are witches real? No. People just fear these. Let's go back to the Egyptians and the pharaohs who had pyramids built for them so they could take their belongings with them in the afterlife. And they also make sure their tombs would be locked behind them because they knew people would steal their people bringing this stuff in would steal their possessions. But I mean, we know, like, it's all belief. So no, I don't think there's a vampire as we define a vampire. I just think it was someone with very poor hygiene.
Mm.
I think the examples given in the article, it's more of an insurance policy, really. It's not necessarily this, because this person doesn't particularly look like a vampire, although if that's their skull, it looks like somebody shot him between the eyes before they went down.
I
So-
saw that.
So, I mean, they may have just been like, okay, well, we shot her, but let's make sure. So, I mean, the couple of things that they mentioned, the padlock on the toe, that's just supposed to keep them down. The sickle across the neck, that's supposed to chop their head off if they sit up real quick and such. So, I mean, it's really just insurance policies. And I mean, like any good insurance policy, it's not a lot to it, but if it was a vampire, that insurance policy would have paid off tenfold because all of the villagers wouldn't be bit by that crazy ass female vampire.
Hmm. Well, there you go. I love the insurance policy. Well, actually, it's funny because you bring that up. There's an episode of The Office where Dwight's aunt passes away, and one of the Shroot customs is that after the funeral, they kick open the lid of the coffin and they take a shotgun blast right to the deceased face because apparently they went through a string of heavy sleepers.
Yes.
It was a very dark
Yes,
moment.
I remember that episode.
It was a very dark moment in The Office, but it was still kind of funny just because of the way that he delivered the line. It's like, we had an unfortunate time of some heavy sleepers.
You know,
Hey,
sometimes
this
those
one took one between the eyes, so I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
sometimes those show/movie lines that they just hit correctly. Like I still love, I don't know, and side tangent, sorry to derail, but have you guys seen the movie Wind Talkers?
Mm-mm.
All right. So real short, keep it short. Nicolas Cage is in the military. He is assigned a Native American wind talker who that's how they communicate in code. I forget what battle it was. Well, they were tasked if any of the wind talkers were captured, you know, you take care of it. So there's a scene where Nicolas Cage takes a grenade, throws it in a room, and blows up one of the wind talkers. And his signee asks, is like, where is, I forget the character's name. And he looks him square in the face and goes, I took a grenade, I threw it in the room, and I blew him up. And it just, to me, it landed so well. Sorry, derailed it.
No, it's all right. Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
I have to put that on. It's funny. I remember seeing like the trailers for that movie, and I was like, "Oh, that sounds really like interesting. I probably should watch it." And then I never got around to it. So, but yeah. So it's funny because the article here states that she had a silk cap on, which says she might be a high-ranking person in society, which doesn't usually equate to bad hygiene. But then again, we're also talking it could be 17th century, so they may not have necessarily had good hygiene, like you said. So, but yeah, it's very possible. See,
Thing is,
my
the hygiene isn't the issue because hygiene means they're all decayed and they would be falling out,
yeah.
right? So it's just the crooked teeth.
I mean, she's got a
Yeah.
full set in there. Like you look at the
Right.
pictures,
They
like
look
they're
okay. Now-
nothing's missing. So
I have vampire-ish canine teeth. They're pointy. So, I mean, we're not zoomed in or anything, but I do kind of have these sharp little pointy teeth. So on a full moon, I can't be responsible.
Big,
suppose
sharp,
that
pointy teeth.
Yeah.
the buck teeth, the rabbit teeth are probably the more dangerous weapons as far as that goes. But anyway, this could be a thing. However, I would like to propose that it could be a marriage gone horribly wrong. Because some people
That never happens.
don't mesh too well. And there could have been a bad day when he finally was pushed too far. Sadly, women are killed by their husbands far more often than they should be. Now, he may have then had to say, she was a vampire, I had to. So this was his like thing after the fact, like she's crazy, she went insane, we have to, I shot her in the head, but if you were there, you'd have done the same thing. Let's make sure that we put the sickle and the lock and all the stuff to keep her from rising again and killing everyone. So this is a good story with props to cover a potential murder.
That sounds
I
like
like that.
CSI Poland or something like that. It's like
Saying,
cold case. Oh, Poland cold case. There you go.
Yes.
There you go.
Well, if she's a
That's it.
vampire, it's a really cold case.
Oh, but
Oh,
And said that's definitely a possibility that could be a real thing.
She just might not have
It
liked
could really-
playing out in the sun very much.
yeah, it could really suck the life out of somebody.
Right.
You could just tell me to stop at any time. It's just
But yeah, I mean, she had to be from a rich place that they could. I mean, the silk cap is one thing, but a sickle is a useful tool, and they buried a perfectly good sickle on top of this woman.
I was just say that would have been, yeah, that's like a big piece of equipment for
Yeah.
17th century.
That's some hardware.
A sickle is worth less than half the lives of the village if she were to rise again.
Go, Harry. You got to come on here more often and say dramatic things.
we're just gonna have Harry do the intro to the AV life. It's like, welcome to the AV life.
Yeah, you got to come for the Halloween episode.
Oh, actually, I think he did sign up for the Halloween episode.
Good.
I
Excellent.
signed up for a couple of specials. I forget
Yeah.
what.
Yeah, I don't think it was none of the normal regular episodes. It was
Oh yeah,
always like
no, I signed up all the
ones.
special crap. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, you heard it. Anybody else who wants to sign up, come and join.
Yes.
Creepy fun.
The lightning round.
Welcome,
Yes.
foolish mortals.
Oh boy. Okay. It's happening.
Anyway, all right. So there you have it. So vampires in Poland? Yes? No? No? I think we're saying no. No vampires in
think-
Poland.
I think, okay. This reminds me of a story that happened in my family. We are the house of history. Okay, so my daughter was taking her violin lesson and saying something about Bach and something derogatory about Bach, and the violin teacher said, "Hey, most of the Western music is based on Bach's what he did, because he's quite a composer and he did a lot of music making." So we had the question based out of this conversation about where is Bach buried and whether or not he would be a skeleton or be completely decayed. I said, because my daughter thinks this way, right? So would he be completely disintegrated if he were buried in the ground? Possibly. But if he were buried in a church, in a crypt, like a stone crypt, his bones might be preserved. They might still be there. That happens in churches, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we came home and I told my research staff, which is what I call my husband, to find out. And he comes back and he said that there is a church that purports to have the grave of Bach that was in their cemetery outside. And the reason they thought it was Bach is because a really old dude who was told by a really older dude when he was younger, said, yeah, that's Bach. Like, hey, it's Bach, but it's not marked. So like, hey, it's Bach. Okay. So in like the almost like 150 years after Bach was supposed to have died, he says, yeah, that's Bach. So they go, that's Bach. And then they unbury him and stick him in the church. And then like 3 separate times they like looked at Bach's remains. Okay. Now, recently somebody's like, hey, we have technology. Now we're back to cold case, right? We have technology. Let's go look at his DNA. The church, who has Bach's remains and is getting some tourist traffic out of these remains. Now, if I were anywhere near that particular town in Germany, I would go see Bach's grave. Hey, Bach. So they were like, no, we're not going to unbury him again. There's no upside to proving that it's really Bach. Because what if they don't prove that he's Bach and they lose their foot traffic? So it's going to be forever a mystery as far as that church is concerned. They're like, we're protecting the sanctity of the respect of Bach, dead Bach. So
I'm
Alright.
just confused if that's Johann or if it's Sebastian Bach with the big blonde hair and shit.
we'll never know.
Yeah, I was gonna say, imagine if like that guy that said, yeah, that's Johann Sebastian Bach really meant it was like, yeah, oh wait a minute, it was like his weird cousin Sebastian
PDQ
Johann
Bach.
Bach. Like, yeah. So yeah, there's some other Bach that's down there. Like
Anyway, but he did get poked and prodded and moved around, which churches certainly did have a habit of doing. Remains and what do you call them? I forget the word for it. Relics.
relics, yeah.
So
Well, it's funny. I just recently, well, actually, I could tie this in real quick before we end the episode. I just recently, learned today that in England, all the monarchs have been buried in lead-lined coffins because it seals the coffin and makes it like odor-proof. So,
mm,
and
yeah.
there are people that were saying it, could have been also superstition stuff for, way back, for vampires and stuff. But
Well, they
but
had
yeah.
all this lead lying around. You got to do something.
I mean,
with it.
you're dead already. So I guess the poisoning part doesn't really matter. So
There's all sorts of things that can poison you in that situation.
yes. So yeah. So it's very interesting that, so yeah, so his remains could, and they do it specifically too for burials that are in churches and crypts and things like that. So that way the smell doesn't radiate through the church. So, so Her Majesty the Queen has now is now in a lead-lined box under St. George's Chapel. So, and so was Princess Diana. So that was part of the video that I watched. So that's the only reason I bring her up. So, all right. Well, on that note,
Okay.
all right. Anyway,
Things to remember.
yeah, things to remember. So
So if somebody is stocking up on lead in your habit where you in your household, look at them twice. Like, why are you doing that? What does this mean?
So you're gonna bury me somewhere where the body sniffing dogs won't find me.
Usually the lead that I collect has copper around it. Anyway, keep going. It's a lovely episode.
Nice.
My.
That you put it right between the eyes of the vampires with the silver. Yeah. There you go. So anyway,
You heard it here.
You heard it here
Circle
first.
back.
The silver
Yes,
bullet
exactly.
is for the werewolf, not the.
Oh,
vampire.
not for the vampires. Wait, don't they have a silver allergy too?
No.
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 Holy water.
I'm getting
Holy water,
holy
wooden
water.
stake through the heart.
I thought there was garlic somewhere. In
And,
there.
And like
garlic. Yeah. And,
garlic
yeah.
is supposed to be like a repellent, but the big ones that do harm, sunlight, holy water, stake through the heart.
Taking
Into
That's-
each
yeah.
generation, a slayer is born.
Yes, exactly.
Eh,
That was on the binge list. So we did go back through and rewatch all of Sarah Michelle Gellar. So so I was like, oh wow, 1999 all over again, so, or 98 all over again. Anyway, that will save the rest of the vampire stories for into October. So we're gonna wrap things up here on the first lightning rounds edition of the AV Life. I'm gonna need to see if I can find that that audio clip of like Tim Curry doing it, and obviously we'll give credit to him as long as he doesn't come after us for that. But Harry, thank you so much for joining us tonight, as always.
It was my pleasure. I love coming on this show. It's always a good time.
Murphy, James, again, thank you as well.
it was fun.
Always fun. Yes.
Pew pew.
I know. I feel like we're a little rusty because we haven't done one of these in a while. So I think that's part of
True.
it too. So we'll get back into the swing of things for October's edition, and maybe we'll find some more creepy articles about some weird, I don't know, where man out in Austria. I don't know. So that feels like that makes sense to me. I don't know.
I'm with
But-
you.
All right, good. I'm glad somebody's along with me because I didn't know where I was going with that. The silence was deafening. Anyway, have a great night, everyone. Have a good day. Have a good afternoon, wherever you're listening to us. And until our next adventure.